Hey guys, it's Logan here with Hydra572. Last week we showed you guys the weapons that we would be using in the zombie apocalypse. This week we're going to show you guys the gear. It's going to help us carry the weapons, keep us protected, stuff like that. As Chad and I were talking about this video, I realized that the only way that our system really makes sense is if Chad is the really up-close guy who's doing a lot of the melee fighting. His weapons have lower capacity, he's got more armor. It just makes sense that way. I'm really uncomfortable with the idea that I would just be sitting back providing covering fire, but with 30 rounds in an AR-15 magazine and me having many magazines for the AR-15, with me having less armor, it's just kind of the way it has to be. I don't really like it, but as you guys can see, not a whole lot of armor involved in my setup. Pretty much if I get bit anywhere, I'm fucked. So there you go. This is all airsoft gear, by the way, for me, and I say that pretty unashamedly. I think that approaching firearms in the tactical community from the airsoft side first was pretty cool and gave me a pretty unique perspective. And yeah, this stuff isn't as high a quality as some of the more expensive, more real-life tactical gear, but it works just fine for me. It hasn't started falling apart yet, and it's cheaper, so I like it. If you don't have any gear, if you don't have the cash to throw in a real rig, think about spending $100 or whatever on an airsoft rig. It's worked so far for me. Companies like OE Tech and Condor did most of this stuff. I have an H-harness with a battle belt. All this stuff just sounds awesome. So here I have pouches. They can hold 3 AR-15 magazines each, and that's about as many as I've got. So keep my magazines in here. Over on this side, I have my Zombie Killer Famine Tonto with its sheath holder accessory thing with this little stuff sack, which I have filled with my 1911. If the shit actually hit the fan, I would just go ahead and sew this holster in, because then I can actually have retention for the pistol. But for now, just imagine that it's free floating, and I would kind of have to do that sort of thing to draw. So you guys can see I would run the 10-round magazine. We've only got one. Run that in the gun, and I do have pistol magazine pouches, but those are actually in a vest that I would use in a serious home defense situation. I didn't want to unlace them and relace them because moly is just the worst fucking thing in the world, and I have no idea how it's pronounced on top of that. So in here I've got that. Down in this pocket on my BDU pants, I've got my Voyager. And I would be using the BDU pants. As Chad pointed out, they are pretty loud, actually, especially for something that's actually designed for military use. These were just picked up at a thrift store. They're really cheap to get that way. And in my back pocket, got my ZT-0200. And then, as you guys can see, I have my Sog Tactical Tomahawk just kind of run through the belt there. Figure it's going to take a minute to get it out, get it switched around, but I can do that pretty quick, and it would probably be after I transitioned out of using the Famine Tonto, or simultaneously, I guess, would be pretty cool. As you guys can see, I am very lightly armored. I have my Magnum Industries boots on bottom, my BDU pants. The leather boots would probably stop a bite. I don't know why a zombie's biting me in the foot and I'm not doing anything about it. There you go. The BDU pants probably wouldn't. And I have an Under Armour shirt and then another Under Armour shirt because, I don't know, I guess I like it when people can see my nipples. Anyways, that's pretty much the system for me. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable with the idea of like sitting back and letting Chad do the actual fighting while I pick zombies off with the AR-15, but I've got quite a few more rounds than he can carry in his guns, and I do prefer having a little bit lighter gear, having more mobility, so I guess that's the way it is. I wouldn't be afraid to mix it up. I'm not going to stand back and Chad, swing the hammer at that one. That one's trying to bite you. You should hit that one. Like, I don't know. There's no really graceful way to say, in the zombie apocalypse, my plan is to cover my friend while he does the fighting. But as you guys will see in a second, Chad's setup involves quite a bit more armor, and I guess the complementary setup does work pretty well. Chad's got the shotgun, so he can handle much more zombies in close proximity, whereas it makes more sense for me to sit back a couple of feet, couple of yards, and take more directed and aimed shots. So I guess that's the system.
So for my setup, like, you know, I have an H-harness too, but that's set up for my airsoft, and I've got a SCAR, which is like an AR-15 platform. That's nothing at all like a shotgun. So like, I took it out, I was looking at it, and it's like there's nothing I could do with that helps me there. So I decided, like, you know, zombie apocalypse comes, I'm probably gonna figure out how to attach a sling to my shotgun, carry that around, but I'm probably going with my melee weapon. But, you know, I guess starting with the gear, because this is the gear segment. From the toes, I've got my my steel-toed boots, same as last time we talked about this. Pants did change. I've got my BDUs on instead of my favorite jeans, which still wear those. They're just not you know, Zompok rated, because they got a hole right in the gooch, and that's a no-go for the Zompok. Diggity dig. Yeah, as Logan was saying, we were talking, and it's like, wait a minute. Like that, there's no fabric rubbing against each other. That's just loud. Like the fabric moving itself is loud, and I don't know how I feel about that. That may change, but hey, these are some big-ass pockets, man. Like, you could put a lot of stuff in there that would rattle around and, like, give you a rash on your thigh. Anyway, those are my pants for the zombie apocalypse. I'm thinking about getting some leather motorcycle pants to kind of complement the motorcycle jacket with some shin armor and knee armor. Just because, maybe like an ass plate, too. I don't know, I got a pretty fine ass. Maybe the zombie wants to take a bite out of it. I don't know. That's the zombie, not me. Anyway, motorcycle jacket, same as last time, but I did put the armor in. I've got forearm plates, elbow plates, shoulder plates, and a back plate, even. Sap gloves, kind of a weapon, but Logan said save it for the gear part rendition episode. You know, I've got steel shot. Actually, I think it's lead shot in the knuckles and some steel bars on the fingers. And I guess I'd be using mostly my melee weapon, just because that seems a lot more sustainable than a shotgun. And then I got my riot helmet, which also has this little pad on the back of my neck. Depending on the temperature in the season, I might be wearing a hoodie underneath. Maybe it's chilly. I don't know. Right now it's hot as fuck because we got like 4 lights going off and just emanating heat and shit. But I don't know.
Now, guys, I shit you not, every couple of weeks when we get talking about zombie apocalypse, we re-talk about Chad's armor, and Chad really wants me to hit him in the chest with a baseball bat.
I mean, I feel like that's the only way to really test the armor, is if, like, he hits me with some shit.
Now, I've been trying to explain that hard plastic does not cure baseball bat.
I'm not saying he takes like a full-out swing. I'm saying like maybe 60 or 70%.
He wants me to hit him with an aluminum baseball bat gently.
Something like that. And then we build up until we reach the point where it's like, alright, I'm getting a little uncomfortable with that. Just so I know, like...
Anyways, as we ramble toward the finish, one thing that I would love to do so that I can humiliate my audience is, if you think your setup is squared away, all that you have to do is next time you go shooting, get all your gear on, and run a little ways while you're shooting, and when you finish with the magazine that's in your gun, don't stop running and try to do a mag change. It's humbling as all hell, because you realize that you forgot things like, where am I gonna put the empty mag?
That's why I keep one pocket open.
Yeah, that's what the cargo pocket's for. It's actually very difficult when your leg is in motion to reach down to the cargo pocket and to put something inside. It's like the aperture of the pocket shrinks and your hand gets much bigger. It's a very stressful situation.
It's a really interesting equation too, like the mathematical part. Like,
it's just a great thing. So, if you guys haven't yet, look at the gear that you've got, whether it's more like Chad's and it's more armor-related and wearing leather and making sure that bites don't get to you, or in a more real-life situation that somebody throwing a bottle at you wouldn't disable you permanently, or if it's more about having your firepower close at hand, being able to switch out mags fast. Think about getting your system squared away. Having that little bit of preparation done actually can make a big difference in the long run. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more of the same.